Welcome to the Dizzy Red Panda podcast, a podcast about all of the crafting projects that make us dizzy. This week we have a definite focus on knitting, because that's all the projects we have.
Lots of knitting. I'm Cheryl, just outside of St. Paul, Minnesota, and you can find me on Ravelry as Red and Instagram as Red Knitter.
I'm Katie, and I'm from Duluth, Minnesota, which is at the very tip of Lake Superior, and I am known on Ravelry and Instagram as Nerdy in Plaid.
You can find our show notes and links to everything that we talk about today down below, and please feel free to leave us questions or comments. We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely. So, I see that you're wearing a brand new sweater today, and I have to say it fits you nicely from the neck and shoulder area.
Why, thank you. I fit this area just perfectly. No, it actually fits really nicely all around. I'm hoping to. I hadn't gotten photos of my so faded pullover for our last episode, but I'm hoping I can grab some today after we record. We'll see. It's really cloudy here, so I'm not sure how well that's going to work out.
Got it. Well, I hope you can find some good pictures, because I can't wait to see how it looks like on a person. I think that will be
all the way down the person.
That sounds super creepy when I say it that way, but really I'm admiring the sweater. I'm not like creeping on you.
I know. I know what you're doing. You're a knitter.
Exactly.
So what cozy thing do you have on today?
I'm wearing the Decemberists. I don't remember who it's by. There is a cat who wants to play down at our feet, so this is part of our drinking game now. When does Katie's cat make an appearance? Doing noisy things. So, anyway, sorry. This is the Decemberist. It's a very large, triangular shawl that has some lace. I ran out of yarn on the bind-off, which is why I have the mustard.
But it's super cute.
It is. It's something I finished like in May when it was too hot to wear it. But it's made out of Cascade Eco, so it's really, really nice and cozy. And it's sunny but chilly here today, so I do appreciate that. I'm like, yes, we are in fall. Full on fall. Yep. So I have a mug of caffeinated goodness with a hand warmer. I have to say, like, I love this mug for that reason.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So I see that you finished something else that sounds like it's pretty cozy.
Yes. So I'm going to say this is a mostly sort of finished object. So I finished my split back snowflake hat.
Yay!
By Susan B. Anderson. Let me show you the mistake before we just get it. That's supposed to look like a diamond. Like,
is that a mistake or the beginning of the round?
It's the beginning of the round, but it looks like a giant mistake to me, even though I went back and tried to go down and fix it. So that's definitely the back of the hat. But here's the pretty shot. That's what.
There we go.
This is out of Plymouth Homestead in the natural and federal blue colorways. So it's a commercial yarn. I really ended up loving how this turned out, and I loved working with the yarn. There were several times this week where things got a little tense, and so I had to rip back. Negative knitting is a theme for my knitting this week. But overall, blocking definitely helped even things out, and I think it looks cute on.
Oh, it does. Turn to the side. Yeah.
So, yes. So let's talk about how it's sort of not finished yet. So this pom-pom isn't actually sewn on yet. So I love this. It has a snap on the bottom, and all you have to sew to the hat is the other side of the snap.
That is brilliant.
It is brilliant. I really love this. I got this pom-pom from Barrett Wool Company, Susan B. Anderson's essentially yarn company. And so, yes, it does need some floofing up. It looks like it has bedhead. But I haven't decided if this is the right pom-pom for it. It matches in color. I don't know. I'm not sure if I love it. I think I would like maybe a yarn pom-pom better, but I'm not there yet. Okay. So it's going to stay safety pinned on until I figure out what I want to do. But to me, it's done.
Yeah, definitely.
So.
And that is some mighty fine color work.
Thank you very much. I am proud of how I did, though I can still see all the mistakes. But I did ball up 3 other skeins of yarn yesterday so I can cast on a new color work project. Because the only way to get better at color work is to practice it.
Yes. Yay.
Anyway, that's that hat. That's the one you have seen. Then the other one, this was a bit of a tease for Cheryl because I have it marked down in the show notes. I haven't even told her what project it is. A huge long-term project is off the needles. You ready?
Yes.
Any guesses what it might be?
Is it your weekender?
No. Also, I was lying because it's not a huge project. You ready? He's not super big. He looks really big, but he's really not. He's like...
What even is it?
It's a bunny.
Is that fun fur?
Okay, so...
What?
So I used the Rebecca Danger's bunny nugget pattern to do this. So you cast on, and then the ears are I-cord, and you're supposed to do something to make them stick up, but I didn't. He's ridiculous, and I kind of love him. So we got some new yarn in the shop, and I've been walking by it, and, like, it's fun fur, but it's really soft, snuggly, like, let me hug a cat without the wiggling, like, softness. And it's considered a super bulky. And you're supposed to use, like, size 15 needles on it. But it has 33 or 36 yards per skein. It's ridiculous. This used about half a skein. I used size 10 needles. And it's so soft. It's ridiculous. It's not the traditional fun fur. I'm going to be making another one. I'm going to make a cat, actually, this time. Because I bought another skein. So I'm going to... Yeah. And I just did a little bit of embroidery on the nose. Like, this took me an evening. It is so ridiculous and so
It is hilarious.
And I decided I liked his floppy ears because I love floppy-eared rabbits.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't put a tail on him, but I probably should put a pom-pom, but whatever. Anyway, he's ridiculous. That's my really huge project.
I love it so much.
So you, too, can make a really fun bunny or stuffed animal in, like, an evening and be done. It's, like, probably maybe 20 yards I used.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, he's ridiculous. I love him. All right, so that's what I finished this week. And I would say I finished the hat on Friday, blocked it yesterday, and threw the pom-pom on this morning. So it's last minute finishing. So we talked about our crafting plans a couple weeks ago, and you have some revisions to yours. Can you talk us through those?
Okay, yeah, I feel like I need to make an announcement now that we have a podcast. Like, this is public information now.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay, so it's not that my plans were completely crazy, but I've been reevaluating them.
Okay, I like that. I like that positive statement.
Yes, I'm reevaluating them in light of current circumstances. So, I've adjusted my plans a little bit. The first adjustment is that I am pumping the brakes on my Halloween costume plans. So in our fall planning video, I talked about our Jolly Holiday family costume. Mm-hmm. And I had pulled a pattern for a penguin costume for my little toddler son. And then we were trying to figure out how to do Mary and Bert for my husband and me.
Yes.
Yes. And then I just feel like the universe was sending me some signs because there's this huge, it's called Just Between Friends. It's a big baby and kid consignment sale.
Oh, nice.
It's amazing. They're like all over the place. And if you have kids, you should totally shop at them because you can get really good deals on stuff.
Is it a shop or an event?
It's an event.
Oh, okay.
So in my suburb, they have it, I believe, twice a year.
Okay.
And it's like they fill up this indoor soccer field.
Wow.
With stuff. Like just stuff and stuff and stuff. So I went to it twice this week. I went once on the regular and once when stuff was half price, and I got a ton of stuff for my kid, which was great.
Nice.
And my mom actually came across a penguin costume in his size.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I was like, oh, this goes against everything that you have raised me to believe, Mom, because she always made She always made these amazing handmade costumes for us growing up. And so like that means love to me. And so I want to do that. But I'm just like, I like had her hold on to it, and I was walking around the sale, and I was like, you know what, Cheryl, this is just the universe telling you, like, it's okay. You have a lot on your plate. Just like buy the stinking costume. So I bought the stinking costume. And then my husband and I were still figuring out what to do about ours. And what I really want to do is like a realistic full-on costume with a giant petticoat.
Of course you do. So like that's what to Disney World the next time you go, right?
No, you can't do that. They don't let adults in with costumes. For safety reasons, they don't want kids like walking up to random adults.
Okay, I get it.
Right. It's with good reason. But, you know, I just feel like I could make use of that. You know.
Just wear it around the house. Go
right.
Get the mail.
But now, like, we're recording on the last day of September, and that means tomorrow is October. And my plan was to, like, use some thrifted items and incorporate those, and we just haven't really had time to do any of that. And so now we're thinking more of, like, if you're familiar with Disney bounding. Have you heard of that?
No. I am not into the whole Disney thing as much as you and your family are. That's not a knock. I know you guys you are a Disney family. You absolutely.
We are a Disney family, very much so. So Disney bounding is when you dress up like a character, but in everyday sorts of clothes. So like someone like you who doesn't really do the Disney thing, you might not realize that I'm sort of doing, like, it's not full out cosplay, but it's like in that sort of vein.
Okay.
You might not realize that I'm engaged in that sort of thing. But somebody else who, like, if I were at Disney World and surrounded by a bunch of people, they would probably recognize, like, oh, she's, like, trying to go as this character.
So, like, would that mean maybe instead of a full-length white dress with a petticoat, you maybe have, like, a knee-length dress that is, like, more of a circle skirt with a petticoat underneath?
Precisely.
Okay. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, so
Are you allowed to attend Disney World wearing Disney-bound type clothing?
You are, and I believe that's how this whole trend started, was that someone was going to, she like lived in the area and was going to Disney frequently and wanted a way to dress up as characters and still like fit within the rules and not, you know, get barred from entering Disney World.
Right.
So I believe that's how the whole thing began. It has a big following now. Yeah, so it's a more relaxed way. I wouldn't call it costuming. Okay. But it's a more relaxed way to, like, still do the Halloween thing and perhaps retain my sanity in the meantime.
Got it. Okay.
So that's the plan. I don't know if I'm going to do any crafting associated with it or not, because we're still figuring out what exactly those are going to look like. So there still could be some handmade elements, but most likely I'm going to work with more stuff that I already have and stuff that I purchase and that kind of thing.
Got it.
Yeah.
I think that sounds like a reasonable option as well. And it sounds like you might end up getting more wear out of it. Not that I'm saying you're going to go around town all the time in a costume, but also it's just something that you could more easily transition between places as well.
Exactly. So once we do figure that out and Halloween has come and gone, I'll definitely share some pictures.
You absolutely need to share some pictures, because I would like a picture of your husband carrying like a chimney broom.
Yeah, well,
because I think that would be hysterical. For the costume that you bought your son, is it just a little bit big so he can wear it for a couple of years, or?
I don't think so. I haven't tried it on. It doesn't look too big, but he's also pretty small, so it depends on how he grows.
Okay. So I also was wondering, what did he think of it?
He doesn't think anything of it yet. But
he doesn't understand why people dress up or the process.
No, he won't care.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the first of my fall plan announcements. The second is I had sort of a hiccup with my Gale poncho yarn that I was really excited about, but at this point it's just kind of on hold. So I've been waxing poetic about this pattern, and I didn't want to just like leave off without saying anything. But yeah, I may come back to it. I might not. I'm just going to see where knitting ends up this fall, I think.
And I think it's okay to give it some distance and kind of reevaluate as well.
Yeah.
Nothing
Yeah,
wrong.
exactly.
So then, since you talked about some things that are being postponed or some revisions, what are you working on right now?
Yes. Okay. So I've let go of things, which means that I can do things.
Okay, good.
That's always good, right? Okay. So instead of casting on for the Gale poncho, I cast on for another project that I talked about in our fall plans episode, which is, I'll hold up the pattern picture. It's the Ashby.
Oh, I love that. That's so pretty.
So that's a triangle shawl. And so I've cast on for that in my Cascade 220. And this is the yarn that I reclaimed from a sweater that I frogged. So, you may be wondering, I thought this was a triangle shawl.
Yeah, that's what.
Is Cheryl holding up a strip?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you may be wondering that. And you would be right to wonder it. So here's the diagram.
Okay.
And I don't know how well you can see it, but the way this shawl is constructed is you go down and up the border, and then you pick up stitches and you do the middle.
Interesting.
So that's weird.
It's a backwards applied edging.
Right.
Okay.
I have some reservations.
Okay.
But I'm willing to try it once. Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how nice it's gonna end up looking at that join.
Okay.
I'm a little concerned about that, because it would be tidier. You know, if you're doing an applied edging, it's very consistent. Whereas sometimes it's difficult to pick up stitches consistently. So I'm a little concerned about that join, and then I'm just concerned that it's going to be annoying. So there's that.
Okay, that's a good comment, like an understandable comment.
Yeah. So, and I'm just sort of wondering why the pattern is done that way, and if it's sort of this is different. Like, let's write a pattern that's different from what everybody does. If it's just for that sake, you know what I mean?
Right.
Or if there's good.
So that's a Brooklyn tweed pattern?
Yes.
Is it by Jared Flood himself, or is it? Because I know that sometimes he does things to have a really interesting construction, and sometimes it's like they're overworked. Like, they're beautiful designs, but it's like, why are you making me do this so much?
Yeah. So this one is by Layla Robb.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm familiar with her other stuff. So, I don't know. I mean, maybe there's good reason for it, but I'm just like, I guess, a little suspicious about the construction. But, I mean, it's super, like, you can see it's really squishy already.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think it's going to be a really nice finished shawl. And it's just, like, really lovely to knit. It's going super quickly so far. I have these, like, these are not great needles. And so...
Clover?
What?
Are they Clover needles?
They're, yes, Takumi.
Okay.
From Clover. And I don't love them, and so I decided that was a good excuse to order an interchangeable needle set, which is the last thing I need, but I don't care. So I'll report back on that when it gets here.
Which one, can I ask which one you got?
I got the Licca ones. I don't know if that's how you say it.
I have no idea. It's close. It's close.
The driftwood.
Right.
One. Yes.
The really super popular ones right now that nobody can pronounce. Mm-hmm.
Yep, those are what I got.
Yeah. I think they mean joy in Norwegian.
Yeah, it was something like that, like joy or happiness or...
Right.
Yeah, something.
Yeah,
so what are you
let me go into my Norwegian-ish pattern then. Or
Perfect.
my Norwegian yarn, since we're on that theme. I'm working on my faux ball fight cable hat by Lauren S. Gavins. Got some work has gotten significant work, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I really love, let's see if I can get a cable without it. So it has these wonderful cables, and the pattern's really well written. It has beautiful charts. It's actually more of a mustard color. It's turning a little bit darker on camera today. I'm using, here's the name of the yarn. It is, Blane Blane. We're going to go with Blane, and then I'm going to look it up and actually put something in on how to pronounce it. But this hat has probably been knit and reknit twice because I keep screwing up the cables. So here we can see this is a suspicion that I have screwed up another cable right there. Because this week I needed garter and I didn't have any garter projects. So it has been, I'm technically on the decreases like right now, but it doesn't look like it. I theoretically should be done with this hat because it's bulky and on size like 10s.
That's okay.
And it's not just like I'm screwing up the cables because I can do cables all the time. Like that's not a big deal. It's the fact that I'm noticing that I screwed up the cable, and that is like not the word that I use to describe how badly I've messed this up. But I'm trying to respect how not everybody swears like I do. Sorry, I just do. But like I would be, up here and I would notice like down here that I miscrossed a cable. So it's like ripping out, and then I would put myself at the wrong row and like knit up just a little bit and then have to rip back down. So it was like knit one row, rip two out for a while there.
Do you ever just drop down your stitches?
I have dropped down. But then once I'd noticed that I did the same mistake on every single like cable of this nature all the way around, I'm like, I'm just going to, instead of just dropping back, I just went back. Because sometimes when you drop back too much, let's see if I can find it, you can get these kind of, we'll go with this one. Like you can get like these where your stitches just spread out a little bit and like that tension gets really odd. And normally, like, yes, that's going to fix itself in the blocking. But as I'm working on it, I don't want to see that. Mm-hmm. So I will talk more about the yarn when I finish it because there's a history and it has a really interesting background. I just don't want to talk about it today. Plus that I can find how to pronounce those words correctly so I don't sound like a complete idiot.
Perfect. I love it.
Anyway, so another hat, and this one is going to get like a full obnoxious pom-pom. I just haven't decided what color yet. Like that's how I'm doing this.
And you make the best pom-poms.
What?
You make the best pom-poms.
Oh, so I'm thinking a fur pom-pom rather than a yarn.
Oh, okay.
Because I am also playing yarn chicken. I've got this much yarn to get through 2 more cable charts.
Ooh, that's close.
Yeah, and if I don't make it, I'm gonna just cinch it up and call it good. Okay. But I also want a pom-pom there to hide how stupid that's gonna look. Maybe I'm too honest today. Probably.
I love it. I love it. This is a real podcast.
It's real. We're hardcore. So yeah, I have no idea how that hat's gonna turn out. I really do like it though. I think it's a well-designed pattern. The instructions are incredibly clear, and seriously, there's written out as well as charted for everything, and they happen to be like right next to each other, which is also really helpful.
Oh yeah.
It's just that my brain right now is like, no, that's too hard for you to handle a repeat of 4 stitches. Anyway, you're working on something incredibly complex though, and I'm astounded that you can, that you're able to do this because I can't.
Okay, so last time I introduced my crazed Scandinavian cowl that I've been working on. Well, it had been tucked away for a long time. And I had said, okay, I want to try to do 1 chart for each of our podcast episodes, and then I'll have it finished for Christmas. And this time I was successful. Yay.
Yes.
So I put a little marker in. This is my little coffee cup marker. So this is where I was last time I showed this, and I've got the hearts in, and I've got another version of snowflake. I should count when I finish this how many different types of snowflakes are in this.
Because each one it seems like it's different.
Yeah, I mean, it's every row in this thing is different. Like some of the little divider patterns are the same, but it has different charts for the entire cowl. they're just a whole lot of snowflakes. So I'm really interested. Like, I'm going to have to go and look at the end and see. So yeah, I successfully met my goal for this time anyway. See if I can stay on track.
First of all, that's stunning. I love the shape of those hearts. That's so cute. And you have such even stitches as well that in lace weight. Can I remind everybody that's lace weight?
It is lace weight. Yeah, it is. And I mean, the nice thing about color work, especially I think in the finer gauges, is that you can just like beat the crap out of it when you're blocking it, and it gets rid of any unevenness for the most part, unless it's pretty dramatic. That's what I learned how to do from someone who we used to work at the yarn shop with. She's like, you get it wet, you lay it out, and you beat it with a wooden spoon.
Yes. You have given that advice before. I did not need to use a wooden spoon on my hat, but I can understand how it can work to stop it. It's not just to beat the project because you're frustrated with the project. It's really to loosen up the fibers. Like, right. There's a reason behind it.
And it looks nice.
It does. It absolutely does. So that's good. I'm glad you're making your goal.
I am. We'll see if I can manage to get another chart done for the next episode. They are also of varying lengths. So the next chart I noticed is a little bit shorter than this previous one was. So that'll be a slightly more achievable goal. But then some of them are a little bit longer. So it's going to vary from week to week.
That's kind of nice that they have the different lengths as well. So it's not like I need to do 24 rows and 24 rows and 24 rows. It varies not only in the pattern that you're doing, but also how much time and complexity you need to put into it.
And then it's really about completing the image instead of like checking off however many rows. So that's kind of nice.
And I think that's motivating too, just to see the project kind of like that picture finish up. Because the last 2 rows on the hat that I was working on, I'm just looking at it. Like it was like these last 2 rows that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just stuck on. And I'm like, it's only 2 more rows. You can get through that and that will be fine. Yeah, that's it. I think knitting the pictures is incredibly motivating, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have something else you're working on this week, right?
So, yes. So, all right. So I was working on my Tama. So I finished essentially the knitting on it. So this is Tama by Kelly Vanniekirk. I've talked about it extensively. This is out of Malabrigo Arroyo in the Azul Profundo colorway. It looks like a nice navy blue. It's a beautiful color. So the knitting itself is done. So I got my stockinette in. However, I'm having issues with bind-offs. I want to talk about bind-offs for this. I don't have an issue with doing bind-offs on garments. My preferred one, especially on kids' clothing, is called the Icelandic bind-off. I'll put a link to it in the below so you can see a video. It's a really, it usually is very stretchy. Not as stretchy as like a Jenny's. I always forget if it's Jenny or Judy. One has the bind off, has the cast on. Judy has the cast on, Jenny has the bind off. That's what it is. But usually the Icelandic bind off is just a little bit firmer than the Jenny's super stretchy bind off. But for this, so let me do it on the sleeve. So for this, on the bottom and one of the sleeves, I did that one. So this is pretty firm. Like I'm trying to pull it and it is a firm bind off. And I don't think that it's going to work very well. Like having such a firm bind off is going to work very well if a kid tries to put it on. I think having a lot more stretch there is really helpful. I should also say I'm not a fan of the Russian bind off or like a sewn bind off. Those don't work for me. They're not stretchy enough. I have tried them. They just aren't. They are much, much tighter than anything for me. Than even my normal bind off, knit 1 or knit 2, pass the slip stitch over, or one of the first stitch over. That is the most horrible way to describe a normal bind off.
Just call it a normal bind off.
It's a normal bind off.
Everybody knows what you mean,
okay,
right?
Great.
I think so.
Great. Because clearly I don't today. So I think it's too firm. However, on my second sleeve, and this is why I haven't woven in any ends, you can see that this one, come on, it flares a little bit.
Yeah. That's why I don't like that bind off.
And this is a stretchy bind off. So it has some good stretch on it, but I'm like, he's going to develop, whichever child wears this, they're not going to develop like this giant muscle like right there to need that stretch. And like, unless it's a bodybuilding toddler, but I guess I'm just frustrated on bind offs right now. So I know that I need to take out probably all 3 of these bind offs and redo them. I just don't know what bind off I'm going to do. It might be I knit the body on a size 5. So I might do just a normal bind off using a size 6. We'll see. I'm going to do that on a sleeve before I do it on the very bottom though. Yeah. But I've never had this issue when knitting kids clothing, having a tight bind off. I think it's just, it has been a fairly stressful week and my brain has just not been wrapping things around very well. And so I think that's why most people aren't going to notice it. I will.
Yeah.
So, yeah, hopefully this will be a finished object by the time we record again in a couple of weeks, but it might just sit in a corner and think about what it's done. Well, if you have ideas on how I can do a better bind off on this frustrating sweater, please let me know. And if you've ever knit the Ashby and you know how it works out, and if it is weird picking up stitches, please let us know that too, because I'm sure Cheryl would want to hear that. All right. Thank you for joining us today. Leave your comments below. Follow us on Instagram or Ravelry or communicate with us there. And we will see you in a couple weeks. Bye.
Bye.